Good morning, starshine.
Welcome to the real world. Whoa! Mortgage your house and buy Bitcoin with breathe air. There is no second best, okay?
GM. GM. All right. Trade of the day. GM. Let's look at a little bit of volume profile. As BTC is in a non-trending, choppy sort of consolidation. So a couple of things. I'm going to go from bottom to top, looking at the volume profile of this leg up that we had. Volume distributed towards the highs, POC above us, value area low down below. I would say one way you can interpret this would be on this pullback. If it's unable to reclaim the POC, it might head certainly towards the 60k lows. And if it loses that, next area to watch would be down there to that 58. If this is going to be a pullback that leads to continuation, which is like an early trend leg, you're looking at it to pull back probably 50, 618. Could go to 75%. We've seen this in the end of last summer, where you had some of these pullbacks in the kind of October phase. As it was making higher highs and higher lows, you saw the market move off the lows here and pull back around 50 to 60, 61. And then you had this next leg up, which had a 75% retracement. Right, so these are not trending legs, but it's the market making higher highs and higher lows. So it's building positive structure without actually being in a full trend. So you can see deeper pullbacks. Like in both of those examples, I would say it's unlikely that Bitcoin has finished pulling back from here. I would say these lows are going to get tested at some point, and we'll know from there what it's going to do, whether it comes down, chops around here, comes down, takes those lows out and holds, starts to build up from there, or we get a deeper correction. We'll see what comes of that. Today, let me have... Data is not today, right? This week is Tuesday, nothing. Wednesday, nothing much, meeting minutes, and then it's Thursday, Friday. Yeah. So in terms of economic data, it's more later in the week for us this week. And we can look at the developing weekly profile as well. So let's look at this week's. Monday opened at, where are we? Here. Here's our developing weekly value area. So for this week so far, we are below the value area low. Take in last week's as well, from the beginning of last week. And then we can also look at the monthly, because we're the start of the month too. So Monday of last week was over here until the end of the week. So here. So this is last week's value area. You can see we have fallen back inside the previous value area high. So last week we started off with a down move, distributed most of the volume at the lows. Early this week we tried to get above it. We are now back below it. So we're below this week's developing value area, which is here. We're also below last week's value area high after having gone above it. So of course in that area, and you've got the POC, so basically that would also confluence with Bitcoin. If it's not able to hold this area here, you'll probably see us head back towards 60 if that level breaks. So I would say the last point would be around 62. If that breaks, you're probably looking at moves down towards this support level again. And then the month, this is going to be kind of overlaid on top, which might be a bit messy, but worth looking at as well, because we have October's start to where we are right now. And there's October's developing value area, which correlates with the others, so I'll take that off for now. It'd be actually good to look at. Let me look at September's. Looking at last month's. Because when the market's not trending, it's good to look at areas that are developing over time. Let me see here. September until here. So there's September's level. Right, that's an interesting one. September value area high. September point of control down below us. So previous month. And that September POC might be an area for higher low to form if we do get, let's say we break 60. You might see the market come down and form a bottom around that September POC. That could be one. And of course, any breakout will have to be coming above September's value area high, which isn't that far away from us, but we have failed the first time. So we failed to break out from last month's value area high. We are inside of last week's value area as well. So unless reclaiming 63, this market's more likely to drift down towards 60. And then if that breaks, you're probably looking at 58. And outside of that, I think those are some pretty good levels, I would say, to follow. I'd be keeping an eye on that for BTC. And you've got this week's obviously developing value area, which will take time. We're only on Tuesday, so that's an early one. If you look at the weekly candle, we started off with a move up. We're now putting in a move down. You want to be looking at last week's low as kind of your extreme, where price shouldn't go there this week if it's going to hold a consolidated structure. If it breaks this low, if it breaks last week's low this week, that's probably going to lead the market to another few weeks of chop. If it's able to stay within, so if this week, even if it's red, if it stays above 59.7 and below 65, has an inside week, that, if it then breaks to the upside in the next week of October or going towards the end of October, that's probably where you see your bigger move to the upside. And I suspect that will be at least attempted. The market clearly has got some willing buyers. There are people willing to step in and support this. So I don't think it's going to drop as easily because I think a lot of the fear has been priced into the market, and the general feeling is more of a bullish one over the next few months. So you're going to have dip buyers being more willing to step in. Question just is where. Will this 62k be an area that we look back on as a higher low? I think if we do, you're going to see a rally up, you're going to see a move back, you're going to see that get retested and hold, and then you're looking at 60k forming a higher low, 62 forming a higher low, and the market's starting to drift higher. Otherwise, down we go, lose 62. Today's daily open, which is the dotted black line, I would say that's an area to watch. If we lose that level, especially during New York session, you might see it unwind to 61 and 60, and if it stays above, I think we will push back into yesterday's range, like that marking just showed. I don't think that this is going to set up to make new highs today. I think it would set up to possibly have a strong squeeze up, which then retraces back. And if that level proves resilient, like it did at 60, could be a sign that positions are building higher and that buyers are stepping in 60, 62 and walking the price upwards, which would be obviously a bullish sign. So there are a couple of levels to watch for me. Intraday, not sure if there'll be much opportunity today. A lot of choppy conditions. It's kind of been, like I said, the market, people started to get themselves really long again, long alts, long memes, long with swing trades in mind. Whereas now I think the market's flipping back, for at least the short term, flipping back towards more of a scalpers, day traders type of market, where moves are not having follow through. Pumps are reversing, dumps are getting bought up, and the essence of that would be taking quick profits, because I feel like the market, people just managed to take themselves out of that mindset, because that was what it was like all summer, and people got into the mindset of, okay, I need to buy and hold. And so buy and hold now is underperforming because the market's not really showing clear trending structure for BTC. Clear trends on Bitcoin begin above 65 again. Until then, probably expect more of this rotational, choppy type of action, especially with the stock market getting closer to the election where it tends to get choppy. Crypto won't follow the stock market necessarily. I agree with Professor Ayush that I think crypto can decorrelate and trend even if the stock market is consolidating, because it's more of a factor in stocks, the uncertainty around election, just because it's a historical trend. BTC or crypto, it obviously matters who wins the election, but because we have had 7 months of chop and consolidation, whereas stocks have had trends within there, crypto from a cause and effect perspective may be more ready to have trends. We've already seen this, of course, across many meme coins. Question now is, does the rest of the market follow? You're looking at a big major. So not Bitcoin, but the sign you want to be looking for is the next major or a major altcoin to run. So that's what you're looking at, like obviously Solana, Ethereum, BNB, which I don't think is... Yeah, so you're looking at some of these majors. Remember, it was actually Sol that led the entire altcoin rally in the last phase. Just because memes are pumping, I don't think people take that as a reason to allocate more broadly into altcoins. But when Solana started to really move in October, November and break out, that was a signal to the market, okay, alts are back on the table. It could be ETH this time, although it doesn't look like it. ETH doesn't seem to be close to that yet. And those are really your main ones, right? Out of the majors. So waiting for that is probably going to be your best altcoin signal. Otherwise, you're going to continue to see memes pumping. When Bitcoin pumps, memes outperform as they're acting like beta. And when Bitcoin pulls back, really everything pulls back and goes into choppier phases. So that's where we're at now. GM. Mostly, I would focus short term at the moment. I would say day trades are probably optimal until you see some more clear trending structures form on your alts. If you're looking at alts, meme coins, for example, I don't know, like a Poo, you want to watch their 4-hour trends and see how they're developing. So let's say here, some of these I would say are probably getting towards pullback areas. Obviously Pepe has already done that. What else was trending hard? Popcat has broken out and is pulling back, but pulling back quite sharply into its 50 after an all-time high break. It seems more like not a failed breakout, right? The breakout is still valid, that breakout's legit, but not one that would signal immediate continuation. In my mind, I would say best case you'd want to see these holding, coming back, retesting, holding, and building some kind of base to rally further from. But I think the market's just maybe not ready for this quite at the moment, and you might see some of these bigger moves down coming. More chop, more sideways. People betting on all-time high breakouts may eventually get flushed out and just into more chopping sideways, and eventually all this stuff can continue to go higher highs, higher lows, and break out. But before then, I think you're probably looking at maybe it's a little too soon still for some of these. Had a nice rally off the lows. Next thing to watch is consolidation. GM.